Hey everybody, thanks for joining. I've got our good. Some of them, some people hate them, some people love them. I'm still indecisive, but we've got Wozza on with us. Hey bro, how you
Yeah,
doing?
thanks. Yeah, good.
Good, good. Thanks for coming on, brother. That's appreciated. Hey everybody, thanks for joining.
Anytime,
Yep.
anytime at
I've
all.
got and some of them, some people hate them, some people love them. Don't need it playing in the background. I know where we are, so there we go. All right. Got everything fixed up. And actually, I'll just. Oh, my lord. You'd think I'd never done this before.
Always goes wrong every time.
Every
It's
time. Something always has to happen, right? There we go.
yeah.
Let's get it back up to date. There we are. Now we're up to live. I muted it just so I can see it on my other screen. So let's see. Croto's been here like waiting for a while now. I think Croto like came on as soon as the notification did. We've got Twilight, who finally showed up. Yay, Twilight! Thanks, bro. It's about time. And nah, I give him a hard time all the time because he's like, I'm so sorry, I missed your one with Freeze. I'll be there for Wazza. And then sure enough, he was.
For the best one. For the best one.
Yeah, yeah, probably is. Uh oh, I lost my window. What happened? Crap! It totally went. Oh man, don't tell me I did that. I think I clicked. I think it's because I clicked off of it. There we go. Yeah, I clicked off. My fault. Let's see. We got Deshaun. We got Cheeto. Nice. Thanks, guys, for coming. Of course, Waz is in the chat too because he's gonna probably heckle you guys silently.
Definitely.
Definitely. And you're gonna be a smeghead too, aren't you? You so are. uh, and we got Giga. Welcome. Thanks for showing up. I got the missus on here. Thanks, Kess. Hi. And so yeah, I got Wazza on because he was nagging me. On his stream, he's like, eventually I'll be on CF's channel, whatever. So he was passive aggressively heckling, which is fine. I roped him down. And so thanks all for showing up. I know that we're probably going to have more show up throughout, but again, Waz, thanks for showing up and agreeing to this. I know I'm not the nicest content creator, so.
Anytime, honestly, anytime. I love doing this, honestly, I really do.
Oh man, and it's great. So I'm probably gonna start off with the similar Q&A that I started off with Freezius. What got you into Transformers in the first place?
So, it all started a long time ago. So, many years ago. So, it's a long story actually. So, originally, when my son was quite young, he was watching like kids TV, obviously, and I'm sat at home minding him as a baby, watching brain numbing stuff. I was like, I can't keep watching this, like Mr. Tumble and stuff. So I thought, what can I watch that he'll like and I'll like, something cartoony. I thought, you know what? I'll see Transformers as I was a young kid. I'll go and buy the box set, go and watch that. So we started watching that, and we all know that Amazon listens to us and watches us. So I started getting suggested stuff, like like box sets and stuff and toys and stuff. And then went on my phone one day, just suggested a game, a Transformers game called Transformers Legends. So I thought, oh right,
I
I'll download it.
That was a great game. Had some great artwork
Yeah,
too.
yeah. So I thought, yeah, I'll give it a try. Why not? I'm just sat here, my kid's asleep half the time. I'm just gonna try it. So downloaded the game, and long story short, just got in with this one guy who was an absolute beast at the game. And he's like, listen, can you help me sort of, beat this other team? I was like, yeah. So I was like helping him. I won't go into how, but I was sort of helping him, beat this other team. And he's like, you know what, you did really well. Well done. Like, do you fancy coming joining some of the top players in the game? We've got like a chat going. I was like, yeah. Joined this chat. They taught me everything with the game, helped me out with it, told me little tips and tricks and stuff like that. Got to know him really well. Spoke to him like in our community now. Spoke to him every day. And you have close friends and then sort of acquaintances and stuff. And There's about 100 of us in this chat, and then obviously sadly TFL shut down. So we still spoke, and then literally about 4 months later, one of the guys, the sort of leaders of the group, and that sort of hit me up and said, "Hey, listen, there's a new game, Transformers game, Transformers Earth Wars. Do you fancy coming along playing it?" I was like, "Yeah, go on, then I'll give it a go." It was literally, I think New Year's Eve, like, 2015.
15.
Yeah. New Year's Eve 2015. So I was actually in work at the time, so I downloaded it on my break and just started.
Yeah, because you were part of the first wave of the beta.
Yeah, there's not many people that have played longer than me. There's a few that I do know about, and most of my friends that came over and told me about the game. So there's not many, but there is a few that have played longer than me.
Yeah, I came in the second wave of the beta, like the January or February of 16 before it launched. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, it wasn't actually available in the UK, so we had to. Back then, you could change your
country
to a different country, and then you could download the game and play it. But now they've locked it now, and you can only change it once in 12 months or something now. So it's a bit harder to do now. But back then, it was easy to go and play games that weren't to your region and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I remember that there were so many things that were wonderfully wrong with the game in that state. Yeah. Wow. Thanks for the throwback there, Woz, and now I'm feeling really old.
It was very basic back then.
Basic. Yeah. I think what we had like 25 bots between the 1 and the 3 stars that we could use back then. I mean, oh gosh, and let's see. I got in there when HQ 14 was the max, and I think just before I got into the beta, I think it was 12. I don't remember.
I couldn't tell you, but yeah, I remember getting a 4-star was a challenge.
4 stars were like virtually impossible back then. It was like, how the heck do I get a 4-star? And they kind of followed that paradigm with the 5 stars, only shards only.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Pre-combiners and everything, pre-combats.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pre-combiners, I can imagine them like combiners, yeah.
Yeah,
I remember all that when they first brought combiners out. I'm like, wow.
Wow, yeah, that was.
They were devastating, but back then they were unbelievably good.
Yeah, they were awesome back then. I mean, well, also, the max we had was HQ 14, so I mean, back then a combiner was like an ultimate power. It was like a superpower.
Yeah. I think that we lose that a bit now, because back then I used to take combiner just to watch it combine. You did things just for the love of the game.
Just on the side, yeah. Just
and you'd pull a 4-star and you'd be like, oh my god, and I used to do videos about it, and I pull a 4-star, like, oh my god, and now we're pulling 5 stars, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I miss those days where everything was new and everything was an achievement.
It was fresh, yeah. And
we're too privileged nowadays.
In a lot of ways, I think we've just been around long enough that we're going to finally somewhere become the villains. But
I already have.
in some circles, yeah, you definitely are, and in some I definitely have. So what got you into content creation?
By pure chance. So I've always been one looking into tactics, and in my stream the other day I was planning a war attack and everyone was like, what are you doing planning it like that? I was like, I always do. I plan it to the nth, and if that doesn't work, then I'm kind of knackered. So I kind of plan every little detail, and I used to do it with everything. I've always been a fan of making my own bases and stuff like that, and I remember just being in alliance with a few guys and we were talking about creating bases and things like that, and I remember a bit before that, there was a guy called Oasis Mass.
Oh my god.
Mass.
Yeah, back there in the Synergy.
Yeah, there's a guy called Oasis Mass, and we faced him in war, and we were like a mid-level alliance really. But my base is in the lineup, and I remember watching his YouTube channel, and he went against my base, and he beat it easy, but it was like, you know what, I quite like that design, it's quite original, it was a difficult design, and I was like, oh my god, like, I got a shout out on YouTube, I can't believe it, oh my god. And since then, I made a point of trying to make my own bases and design bases and learn about what makes Path of certain way and what makes it difficult and things like that. And so yeah, I started helping people with base designs, basically my alliance and stuff. And but I found it really difficult because you're telling people going like, move that wall there, move that wall there, move that defense there, move that over 2 squares, and they go right, okay, and they go away and they go right, I've done it, and you go, no, that's not what I said.
That's not
move
no.
that there, move that there, move that there, and you repeat yourself like 10 times, and you finally get it, and you go right, okay, and then someone else would go, can you help me my base? And you're like, so I was like, right, you know what? I'm going to do a video for you guys, and I'm going to just say, listen, this is how you do it. This is the sort of rules. Back then it was jazz, so it's like, don't put defenses close together, definitely not more than 2.
Well, we also had the real estate to spread it out back then too, you know.
Yeah, so this is all little rules that you had, and wall actually meant something back then, and it would slow bots down. You wouldn't time out, but it would get them stuck and getting hit by defenses and stuff. It was a lot different base design back then.
Yeah.
And I made this video, waffled on for about 20 minutes, and I had no way to send it. Back then it was band chat.
Yeah.
Taking you back again, see? So
and
no
they had like 4 different servers for band back then. Yeah.
Discord wasn't really a thing, so you couldn't send it from Discord. Tried through email, tried all these things. I was like, how can I send it to them? So I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll upload it to YouTube. It's a random channel, there's nothing on it at all.
Yeah.
And I thought, what I'll do is I'll post it and I'll just give them the link. Dead easy. And I literally, so my IGN back from Transformers Legends was Sunstreaker because everyone chose a bot. Everyone was Optimus Prime, Megatron, Devastator. So I thought, I want to be someone different that no one else has really got. So I chose Sunstreaker and always stuck with it. So when we opened this game, started playing this, I stuck with Sunstreaker. So I thought, right, okay. So I thought, I'm going to call it Sunstreaker, because that's my in-game name, but everyone that knows me, we just call it Wozza. So I literally just called it Sunstreaker Wozza.
Nice.
And that was it. That's why I just named it so people could find it. And that was it.
That's kind of how I got into content creation. We had an argument in Lounge one time about drill horn back in, God, that seems so long ago.
Pre-buff or post-buff?
Pre. And I was, everybody was saying, oh, nose cone and drill horn, they don't do anything against walls. And I was like, have you tried them against buildings? Because they do great stuff against buildings. And that started an upheaval that I wasn't intending, and they wanted proof of what the damage he was doing. So that's what I did. I recorded a video, threw it up on YouTube, and that's kind of how I started.
A similar way, yeah.
Yeah. And it was just like, guys, here, you can see it now. This is not rigged. This isn't anything. And like, that's what I've done through all my video gameplay is it's not manipulated gameplay. I'm playing it for real to record for the video. If I fail, I fail. Great. You get the naysayers get to go, ha, you failed. And then I'll load up another video or another play and record it and then say, see, it did work. So it's 50-50. But
I've felt many times trying to test things.
Oh yeah, especially when you're doing a lot of different squad building and stuff like that. That's kind of where I as you know, that's where my channel focuses, is along the mechanics side of it, of hey, use this together. You can try it to address it this way, and I don't think I've given anybody any counters except for like Computron, but that's still kind of a valid tactic, but I think with the update patch that tactic kind of went away. But hey, that's evolution. It's good to happen that way,
Yeah.
Yeah. So outside of Sunstreaker, who is your favorite bot in lore? Not in the game. So that's a separate question.
Sunstreaker's not even a favourite bot by any means. Honestly, like I said, it was simply chosen to be a bit different.
Ah, all right.
Honestly, like, I've got an affiliation with him now because it's my name.
Yeah.
That's it. But back then, I had no affiliation at all with him at all. He wasn't my favourite bot. I didn't really like him. Nothing at all. It was simply chosen to be a bit stand out from the crowd.
Nice.
That's the only reason I actually chose him. So people have this sort of like misconception that I love Sunstreaker, but I actually don't. It's quite funny sometimes because like I'll do do a video or something and not include him, like, oh god, I can't believe you didn't put Sunstreaker in there for some reason, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not really bothered. Do you know what I mean? So, and weirdly enough, very much a con by heart. Love a lot of the cons.
I knew there was a reason why I respected you.
So when I actually downloaded, the funny story again is when I first downloaded the game, I picked Decepticons because I like Decepticons a bit more, and all my friends were like, right, so like I said, there was like 100 of us, loads of us, and we started what was the TF family.
Yeah.
We started that.
They're still around.
Like, yeah, well, we've obviously changed to G1 now, but a lot of them are still around, a lot of the original guys. And when I downloaded the game, chose cons, and they're like, right, come and join us. What's the alliance called? Oh, it's called, I think it was called Transformers Legends. CF Legends, that was called.
Yeah.
After the game. Come and join CF Legends, right. I searched for it, I was like, I can't find you anywhere, and I couldn't work it out. And then they were like, hang on, are you an Autobot? I was like, no, Decepticon. They're like, well, that's why. You can't join us. I went, what? I mean, yeah, you can't join us because you're Decepticon. You need to be an Autobot. So I literally deleted the game and started the game as an Autobot. So when I first downloaded the game originally, I was actually a con for that, maybe an hour or two, something like that.
I knew there was something good about you.
So yeah, so I blame my friends for that, but you know, it could have been a different history and it could have been a content creator, but it is what it is. But in terms of bots, love Devastator, absolutely amazing. Love him in the cartoons. Do love Grimlock on the flip side of that. I think it sort of mirrors my playstyle. I like a bit of power, I like a bit of just pure raw sort of energy, basically. So I like all the sort of really stronger bots, basically. But huge Devastator fan. Love Headmasters. Huge Headmasters fan. Favorite Headmaster is Apeface.
Oh, nice. I would believe it or not.
Snapdragon, close second.
Yeah, I was my favorite Headmaster is Snapdragon, just because.
Yeah.
Before the real lore came out, he was a Decepticon first before he went to a Merc, So, yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, the whole Merc thing baffled me because I'm a big G1 fan, so I don't really watch much else. Just huge G1, and so obviously the Headmasters, I say cartoon, but that sort of short series, whatever I call it, was absolutely amazing for me. So most of the bots from that, I love Hardhead, Highbrow, Chrome Dome, all them sort of bots. But like I said,
yeah, we had to
those
input.
are also triple changes.
See, you got the benefit being in the UK and stuff. We had to wait like 2 or 3 years for that, before while the Transformers craze was kind of like on the downhill here in the States after the movie in the seasons 3 and 4. We didn't get Headmasters until I think like 90 or 91. It was crazy. But
yeah, love Devastator. And another funny story is that I was talking to Grindtime about it because I've got lots of figures and collections and stuff. And I was talking to Grindtime. I was like, I've got loads of combiners, but the one I really always wanted was a Devastator. I've never had one. And he actually bought me a small one and sent it in the post from America. Yeah.
Oh,
nice
damn.
Guy.
Yeah, nice guy.
So
damn.
I've got it somewhere. Well, yeah, I've got it around somewhere. I think. Oh no, it's transformed. It's all separate, but.
Yeah,
I've got Computron in the PC at the minute. I put him in for a change. So, yeah, he's my combiner of choice. But love combiners, obviously. You can't help it now.
No, they're awesome. I mean, my favorite combiner of all time, which is a G1 throwback, is Piranacon. We know him in game as God Neptune, but and I'm actually kind of glad that they went with the G2 color scheme because I could not see fluorescent bots in the game. That would just drive me nuts.
I'd love that. I'd love that. I said I like the originals, so when I see G2 stuff, I'm like, no, I'm not a big fan. I like the original G1.
Well,
so, yeah,
that's actually one of the that's one of the very few G2 color schemes I actually like are what they did with the Seacons, but I mean, Piranacon was like my favorite combiner. Just he looked badass, and he was actually taller than my Devastator at the time. I had a birthday when I was like 6 or 7, and it was a Transformers birthday, and I literally got just about every bot from the 84 to the 88 lineup over 4 years. And when I saw, for the longest time, I wanted Onslaught and the Constructicons. and I got them for like my 6th or 7th birthday, and then I got the CFTactics for my 8th, and I was just like, ah. Well, that too. I was about it, and I just lost it. And the first thing, I mean, I'm surrounded by boxes of Transformers, and I'm just ripping the CFTactics apart to put them together. It was crazy. And
Yeah, I think the turning point for me was like when I was older and the Combiner Wars came out.
yeah, great series,
As,
great series.
well, I mean, with a toy line, I mean, and I
Oh,
started collecting them. But, I mean, I bought them for my son, but yeah, it was more for me, really.
yeah,
I
you
bought
bought them
them
for
that I
you.
like.
You bought them
And
for
then
you.
obviously as he got older, he didn't want them. I was like, oh, I'll take them off you. You know, I'll look after them for you. So it worked out. But
Nice.
I've got most of the combiners now from the Combiner Wars.
Yeah.
Sort of toy line.
When we moved when I was a kid, I made the stupid choice of choosing between my Transformers and my Legos, and I decided on my Legos. Hindsight being what it is now, I should have like invented time travel and gone back to my 11 or 12-year-old self and said, forget the Legos, keep the Transformers. They're going to be worth something someday.
Okay.
Yeah. And just keep them no matter what happens, no matter what goes on, keep them. They are going to be awesome. And I mean, I remember, because I remember back in the G1 days, they had like the cardboard cutouts for like the play sets and stuff. And they had all the Decepticon ones, which was fortunate for me because I'd been a card carrying Decepticon since '84. But they didn't have anything for the Autobots. And I got a mask playset one day. I think it was, and I think it was for a birthday or Christmas or something. And I was like, odd. The mask playset looks like the Autobot mountain. So I turned that, and at that time I didn't realize what the hell mask was. I just saw a gas station with a mountain, and I was like, that looks like the Autobot outpost. That'd be great. And then I discovered that like the gas pumps turned into turrets, and a giant beam laser came out of the mountain and stuff. And I was like, this is definitely going to be the Autobot outpost and stuff. So I combined them together, and I worked up this really cool fictional story in my head that Mask got their technology for their cars and their trucks and stuff from the Autobots, because Wheeljack.
That's pretty cool.
Because Wheeljack, even in the G1, he was kind of a little bit of a mad scientist. So it was like, that's how we'll do it that way. And then I swear, like 3 months later, the Cobra Decepticon stuff came out, and I was like, they took my idea. They heard me.
Oh, I love Mask. I don't think you can think about Mask without thinking about the theme tune in your head. I was literally just singing it in my head as soon as you said it.
It's one of those great childhood earwigs that you don't realize is still in there, and then it comes out. That was such an iconic theme. I mean, almost as iconic as the Transformers theme, but almost. Man, wow, good stuff. So, who's your favorite bot in game? And it can be a Decepticon. It's all right.
Well, obviously, it's going to be a bot, isn't it? I've got a few for different reasons, I think. Loving Comptron right now. So the combiners, not that bot as such, but I think Comptron's been the biggest turnaround for me. Obviously, bots come and go. You change your team quite often.
Yeah.
Putting bots in, taking bots out, depending on the meta. But I've never used Comptron attack for as long as I've had him as a 4-star, really.
Wow.
Always on defense because of that hack. But he's so good on offense now. I love him on offense. I love how it works. Again, me and Freeze joke about this on our play styles, and my play style is literally just smash everything, kill everything. I'm one of them people where I'm like, I don't see the point in stunning something for 12 seconds, and then if you're fighting outpost bots, another 12 seconds, you kind of waste those points because it's going to come back at you again. So I'd rather use those points to stun it, to destroy it,
yeah.
It, and then you don't have to worry about it again. So, I mean, Freeze is obviously about support bots, I think that's his big thing, and we always have this discussion, and there's no right or wrong way, it's two different play styles, but we just joke about it, constantly. But for me, Comptron is that sort of smash, sort of grab combiner, just huge amount of damage. Obviously, hacks in there, which does damage as well. I think he's absolutely amazing at the minute. So, combiner-wise, Comptron for me is unbelievable, like, best in the game for me personally.
Yeah.
I know people like Volcanicus and Omega as well. They are good. But
Yeah.
for me personally,
They are good, but you know, and you and I were pretty much on the same side of the coin with the Volcanicus and Predaking rework. We were like, really, you're going to give us the shite? Come on, you know, this is crap. I mean, I remember I was like, oh crap, the game is going to end because Freeze and I are Wozza and I are actually saying the same freaking thing. This is not going to. This does not bode well.
He's better now, to be fair.
Yeah.
A bit better.
Oh no, they gave him the right buffs in a lot of areas, and he does last a little bit longer. He could still use a smidge more health and sustainability, but I mean, compared to what we got when the rework came out, it's night and day.
I think they all could, but then I don't know. I think if there's rumours of them going to level 30, issue 19. I've not heard anything official. What people are talking about, not mentioned somewhere. So if that's the case, then they'll obviously last a bit longer, I think.
Well,
and there's always room for rebalancing in this, so yeah, no, I think they're alright. I don't think they're a million miles away. I think we'll always want a bit more. No matter what they do, I think we'll always want a bit more because we want to do a bit more damage. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not bad. I don't have the 5-star, you know, obviously outside of playtest. Because like I said, you know, when we got him and you and I were actually arguing on the same side, that's scary as hell. You know, I was just like, yeah, he's not worth chasing for me right now, and I'm not out to like have the latest greatest toy out there at the moment. You know, I'm not a chasing the Joneses kind of person. I play at my own rate. I do what's good for me and for my alliance and stuff. You know, I'm not out there trying to. I try to do my best not to tell people how to play. You know, I'm just like, hey, do what works for you. You know, if it works, then it's good. You know, I don't know what your squad setups are like or this or that, and it's just like play what's good for you, and then I'll get 17 screenshots of all their squads, and they're like, tell me how to make my squads good, and I'm just like, from what I can see, you've got some pretty good setups. I changed this way and changed, you know, swap these guys with this squad because it would complement them better, but aside from that, you've got a pretty good setup. You know, I don't try to tell people how to play. It's one, it's not my place to, and two, I don't know what they've got, so it's just difficult to ascertain.
Yeah.
I mean,
Depends on the play the game as well.
Yeah, and
Everyone plays the game a bit different, so one person might take your advice and think you're talking nonsense. The next person might think, oh my god, you're an absolute genius. See what I mean?
Yeah.
It depends how they play and whether they agree with you or not. But
yeah, and
what you can do is just pump information into them, really.
that's all you can do. I mean, you and I have, you know, varying play styles, and I remember like on one of your streams we were talking about Nova Prime, I think it was, and somebody was like, well, blot Nova and this type of thing, and we're just like, whoa, stop. And I'm in the chat saying this, and I was like, they don't function the same way. Yes, their ability is similar, but I think you were talking about how blot can pop the outpost consistently, and I was like, well, Nova can do that too, but, and you mentioned it as I'm typing out the but, you know, with the they're kind of unpredictable in that regard. And you didn't say I was wrong. You just said that's a different perspective I didn't consider, and you know, here are the things that can go wrong with that idea, but it's not a bad idea. You know, you just gotta, if the bots were a little bit more consistent, then yeah, you'd have a far more valid point. Not saying that I didn't at that time, you know. But
well, I think for me, the validation is obviously wars for me at the top level. So if I was scoring 300 in wars and you were scoring 200, and you're arguing maybe that your bot is better than mine, I could argue the case and go, well, no offense, but your scores are worse than mine. So
how does that work? Yeah.
But Freeze just scores 300 consistently using Nova Prime. So I can't really argue the fact that Nova Prime's not good if he's scoring scores the same as me using them bots, and he uses a totally different team than I do, completely different. So I can't can't really sit in there and say, I can say that in my opinion, I don't like that bot and I don't like the way it works. It doesn't suit my playstyle. I can say that. Obviously, nothing wrong with that.
Right, but
So, you know, I can't say it's poor.
But it doesn't make it. Yeah, just because a bot doesn't fit in with your play style or how you're strategizing, doesn't mean that they're a bad bot. You know, it's just they don't fit into how we play or how we strategize. You know, that's a lot of things that a lot of people, a lot of the players, in my opinion, don't take into consideration. Is that you've got to strategize. There are bots out there with abilities that paid to another bot, you know, just like virtually almost any one-shot air shot could be Viper power, Viper or who's Viper's? Crap, I had it and I just lost it.
Stormclash?
Thank you, Stormclash. You know, works with air raid. Almost any one-shot air can work with air raid and slipstream. You know, as long as you are able to detonate that fusion bomb in time and maximize the damage. You know, I mean, I hear a lot of players say, "Oh, I use a sniper on it." I was like, I'm taking down combiners with my sniper. Sorry, you know.
For me, like, I always try and find some new ways to use bots. I always try and think a bit outside the box and try and make it as cheap as possible, as effective as possible, things like that. And I think one good example is when sort of Brainstorm came out and people were going, "Oh, it's too expensive. You put Brainstorm down. Then you have to use a jet to activate it." And I was saying, well, have you ever tried using him just in front of your team?
Yeah.
Don't worry about activating him. Just put him in front of your team. Your team takes less damage, and your team's natural DPS will take it out for no ability points. And I started using that and just using Brainstorm just in front of my team, wherever they were, using an outpost bots even.
Yeah.
Just slows them to a T. And since Brainstorm's had his buff and lower cost, for a while I was using that and just taking out areas around where my bots were just to slow them down and take less damage.
Yeah, and I mean, I know like a couple of weeks ago or something, Freeze had said, "Oh, a lot of people don't put this guy in the outpost," and he was talking about Terramander, which I think is Topspin for the bots. I don't remember. And I was like, "Hey, I do that. I have Terramander in my outpost right now." You know, people don't stop to think about this stuff tactically. You know, and they don't stop to think of, "Oh, great, I've got this bot there. Why is that bot in an outpost?" And it's like, well, he does slow down. He does damage reduction. You know.
He was a bot in the meta for a while.
Oh yeah.
3 months maybe, where it was like the number one bot. Because sometimes as well, you got to think that, especially when you're warring at the highest levels, everyone uses the same outpost bots pretty much.
Yeah.
So you know how to deal with them. As soon as you see Swoop, you think, right, okay, he's gonna stun, he's gonna do a lot of damage. I'm gonna throw a heal bomb down, my bot's gonna be fine. Cosmos jumps out, okay, I'm gonna use Overload because I'm gonna stop that hack. You sort of know what you're gonna do. So sometimes sort of throwing an outpost bot in there that still works. It needs to still work. Don't put a bot in there that's trash. But sometimes putting a bot in there that's like that, and you go, "Oh right, well, how do I work against that?"
How do I?
Because you've not battled against it. And honestly, if I came up against Topspin now in an outpost, I wouldn't know how to deal with it because I've not dealt with it in so long. I can't remember what I did back then.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, it's that uncertainty makes you a bit nervous. Whereas nowadays,
also keep in mind, you know, Topspin and Terramander, they've had their tweaks since the update buff too. Their abilities aren't the same anymore. I think, and I honestly haven't tested it, but I think their Skylink synergy is gone. I could be wrong on that. I haven't tried it, but because they used to have that synergy, you know, for extra bonus with Skylinks and Blitzwing accordingly. I have to go now. I'm curious.
You're making me look now as well.
Because I'm like, because that was one of the great little built-in synergies that I really liked was with Topspin and Terramander was that, hey, I can use them with Skylinks and Blitzwing and see if they, and I clicked on the wrong bot. There we go.
It does still. But maybe Bob, you never know.
I
remember being in testing with this, and I remember he didn't have that part, and someone suggested, I can't remember the exact wording, but they said it'd be really cool if you could trigger bots with other abilities with the smoke that already you sort of use smoke. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's a good idea. And someone's like, oh, like Skylinks. So we're like, yeah. So when they did it, we were like, no, want all the bots that
To
trigger
that
smoke,
do that,
like,
yeah.
to do that. And they were like, no, just Skylinks. We're like, oh, it's alright, but it'd be a lot better if you could combo them with more things.
It really.
These are a bit open to other things then, but I think they're a bit scared of not thinking about some things that might be OP or something maybe, and it just got left at Skylink sadly. But I think there was an opportunity there to make it really, really good.
Yeah. He does. He still does. Topspin and Terramander still do have that synergy with
It might be. It might not be doing. It might be. It might. It should.
No.
It might be.
It might not be doing it in game, but in the description he still says combo with Blitzwing's Flame Strike to ignite. So that's good. But yeah, I mean that was another thing I really kind of missed. I really liked that dynamic, even when they finally listened to us and played us and were like, give us some synergies to play with. I was kind of dubious about the synergies that they gave us, but I understand where Dale was kind of trying to go with that, with getting some more lesser used bots back into circulation. You remember that with that whole event with the different synergies, like you had Black with Cheetor and a Gunner and all that. I really liked that idea, especially with the damage bonuses that you got using them together in your squad and stuff. That was a really good idea. I just don't think a lot of players got it. I'm not trying to say that the player base is dumb. I just don't think they took advantage of it.
Because we talked about stuff streamed about power level and things like that. And I didn't make use of it because I think to make use of that you've got to run full teams. So I think for lower and mid players that sort of run multiple bots at events, it's brilliant for it helps them maybe push into an extra zone, it gets them more points. I think it's absolutely amazing. I'm not gonna badmouth it at all. But for me personally, if I'm power leveling, then those synergies don't matter to me. But
right.
It's a great thing. Like I'm not badmouthing. I'm just making a point that I didn't use it. That's what I'm sort of saying. But I can see the value in it, and I don't know why they don't do it more often. Because it was brilliant. It was really good. Like I said, for lower and mid, I'm all about as well trying to get lower and mid players that next step. And I always talk in my streams about a carrot.
Yeah.
I don't want to just give people things and go, there you go. I want to, sort of tempt people into maybe spending, maybe not, but leveling that extra bot, wanting to go to that extra level and going, listen, if you do this, you can do this. And we talked about the last event, and it sort of frustrates me when you go, listen, you can do this event free to play. If you play all weekend and people go, well, I'm not playing that weekend. And you go, right, okay, then we'll do. And you go, but what a BBE?
Yeah, and
for that weekend then, it's there for the taking if you want it.
Yeah, and you can do it. You can get it. And like we were talking before we started the stream, it is an investment one way or another of either time or money, but it's not unattainable. And even if you're like a casual event player, for me it depends on the event to really get me driving nowadays. But then again, we're old men. We've been there. We've done that. But it's just like, you can do this. If you want to argue it, fine, argue it all you want. But it is doable. You don't have to be, you don't have to have a squad of 100K to clear this thing. You can do it with your normal squads. You just gotta play it out right. You gotta play it out. And strategize with it, with both your time and your squads, and what do you do if this happens? You always, I mean, I know in real life we say we can't worry about the ifs, but at least in the game, the ifs are somewhat predictable. We can say, hey, if they've got this on this squad or on their base, I might be toast. I'll have to reevaluate, or I know several ways I can counter that if that happens, but again, it depends on what the if is,
Yeah, going back to the counters and things, that similar sort of frustration is that, sometimes people will go, oh, I can't deal with Mind Wipe and Cosmos, and you're like, okay, well, go and use tracks. I don't have tracks. go use overload. I don't have overload. Okay, well, use a heal bomb. For example, I know most people use it like
Yeah.
like, oh, don't have a healer, and you're like, right, well, that's your problem. Your problem is not because Cosmos and Maiwak are great, they are good, but that's not the problem. The problem is you haven't got the counters. Go and chase them counters. Go and try and get them counters. You've realised you need something, then go and chase it. And that's the game, sadly. Whether we like it or not, whether we want to spend it or not, it's up to you. But that is the game. You know, especially at higher war levels, that someone will find a clever way to make base or make attacks difficult against certain base, and you need the bot to do that. And the top players can switch between those bots very quickly because they've got them.
Yeah.
And if you don't have them, well, you know,
It's
that's the problem. Basically, you know, it's like Pokemon.
you gotta catch them all. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, it's interesting in that because, you know, I've heard it from a lot of top players as well as mid and low levels that they have trouble using some of these bots. They don't understand how to use these bots, and it's just like some of them are pretty self-explanatory, like Overload. You know, you set a target, he does his thing, and he puts a shield around him. It's kind of self-explanatory. But, you know, when you get into some more complicated bots like Quake, where they have that evolution engine, I am still kind of on the fence about the evolution engine and the abilities. I can see the benefits to it, but I'm also not I'm not in favor of having to spam a freaking ability all the time to use it over and over again. Again, I'm still somewhere on the fence on that. I can see where it has its uses, and I honestly think like in a bot, and I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but like a bot like Wild Rider and Blue Streak, that's not a bot that you need the evolution engine for. You need it for something else in that case. You know, like what was it? Power Glide and Cyclonus was the first bot that was introduced with it, that we got in playtest with it, and we're just like, we're like, what the hell is this? You know, I think even you said, I am not going to be spamming this bot just to get it up to a usable level. And that was...
when it first started, it was like ridiculous amount of points. It started like at 5 or something.
Yeah, it was crazy.
30 points something at start. But I just like it as something different and something new and something innovative, because I find at the minute there's too many things where you look at it and go, oh, that's like that, but a bit better. That's like that, but a bit better.
Well,
so
yeah, I mean,
something a bit different. Think outside the box a bit. Be a bit innovative.
It was interesting to see how it was implemented, and I know, like I'll keep going back to Cyclonus for that because that's where we got him first, and it was just like, this is kind of a rough sketch. And then the next bot that they released, I think, was Wild Rider and Blue Streak. After that, they had refined it considerably over what we got with Cyclonus.
Probably,
And it was like, okay, I can start to see some promise in this. I'm still not going to spam the bot to make them usable, but... And then they did that with... I think they did that with Quake, or they kind of changed it with Quake and Gears, where it was like a damage in, damage out type thing. Similar mechanic. And I liked that mechanic. I liked where the bot's got to take some damage to deal some damage. That actually kind of makes sense to me. Because especially... But not for a gunner. I could see that for like a warrior class, because you know you're going to rush your warriors in before you try to get a gunner moved up somewhere. So I think in that regard, great dynamic, great concept, but you applied it to the wrong type of bot, in my opinion. You know.
Yeah, I can live with that though, because I can see they're trying to do new stuff.
Oh yeah.
That for me gets me excited. So I've always said this. Listen. If a bot is innovative, but not very good though, I can sort of deal with that. I can go, you know what, I can see what they're trying to do then. And you know what, if they keep trying with this, I can see some potential in it and they'll get there eventually. And I can live with that. But for me, sometimes it just seems a bit lazy, where you'll just get a bot and you go, oh right, it's just like this bot. So for example, I think Sky Striker is an example. They could have done a lot more with him, but it's just a lot like Jetfire. So you're kind of thinking, what's the appeal really then? Does a bit more damage? Am I really... And I always think to myself, let's imagine you're a free-to-play player and you've pulled, the only two bots you've got is Jetfire and Sky Striker. So Jetfire, Sky Striker, and original Jetfire.
Yeah, I'm using original.
And you've got, okay, let's just say you've got the original level 60. You've spent all that time over the years getting to level 60 free to play. Are you really going to start again for an extra 500 damage?
No.
You're
Realistically,
not going to go through all that again.
no. And realistically, I think that's what they're kind of missing in certain aspects, the dev team. You know, a lot of people will say, hey, I'm carrying water or something, but they don't see the arguments that you and I see or have with the dev team where we can't put this out in public, you know. Hey, you guys are just copying and pasting again. What the fuck? You know, like, wake up.
I mean, we always say they don't listen. I do think they do listen. I do think they do listen. But I think the problem is that they think they know better sometimes when they don't. Because we play the game, we know what's pretty much balanced sometimes, most of the time. And then they come along and go, well, actually, no, we're not going to do that. And you go, well, why? And the reply is, the team thinks it'll be too powerful or something. You're like, you mean the team doesn't play the game? I said to Dare once, like, have you got some spreadsheet that was like, do not go past this point behind the scenes or something? And I joke about it, but I'm actually serious. They've got some sort of calculation or spreadsheet that they do to determine that this is too powerful.
Yeah, because
I don't know where they get it from sometimes.
Because and that kind of reverts back around to when they were talking about the Volcanicus Predaking thing. I remember I got a severe ass reaming from Dale of, why did you compare live to playtest? They're not gonna be the same. And I was just like, well, that's the 5-star on playtest. There's the 4-star, and the 4-star live is doing better than the 5-star. You know, so there's information here we're missing that you're not communicating to us sometimes. And I get it. Sometimes it's a two-way street. You know, sometimes we forget to communicate. I mean, we were so wrapped up in looking over what the bots were doing that they adjusted God Neptune on us, and we're just like, yeah, okay, cool. And we never really took the time to test it and relay back what we saw. I think that's my opinion.
I think the main problem was we tested it, but test is awful for testing really, because most of the bases are from people that played the game 5 years ago when playtest was first came, and when they first introduced raids, that's when playtest became a thing. They first playtested raids, and then said, you know what, we're going to actually create a playtest for bots and whatever.
I remember that, yeah. Remember raids 1.0 were horrible.
Yeah. So I think a lot of the bases are like HQ17s and stuff, even in like the highest zones. So when you're testing whatever it is in the highest zone, it's a lot easier than what it is on live. And then couple that with the fact that we didn't actually test it in a war as well. So we're testing stuff and going like, yeah, this is not too bad, this in zone 16. But zone 16 on test is like zone 15
in live. Yeah.
And so all of a sudden you're like, when it came live, you're like, oh my god, this has been over nerfed. Oh my god, I can't level in 16 anymore. And in this bot or this combiner is awful in wars, because I think we tested in last week in wars, didn't we?
Yeah, last week.
There was kind of a scramble, and we realised it was like, actually, this is pretty bad.
Bad.
And we were kind of like, well,
too late.
It's kind of done. It's going, yeah. Like, shoot.
Crap, yeah. And it was just like, I mean, I honestly think that they kind of rushed the legacy update. You know, there were a lot of nuances, and I've had to tell this to players in Cybertron, on the lounge and stuff, that everything, all the problems that you're seeing on live, we did not have on the playtest server. I think what they did was they rebuilt the playtest server from, you know, all the patches and updates from that.
They tried.
And
I'm the same. It never will.
And I mean, I know that we had like one or 1.5 days where playtest was down because they were rebuilding it for the update patch, and then we got it and we were able to play it. But like you said, we weren't able to run a war on it after the update because wars were either crashing, leveling up bots were crashing. You know, we did have problems, but not the same problems that we had on live.
Yeah. When Apple players couldn't get in to test, remember?
Yeah, Yeah.
Get into it as well. There was a lot of problems behind it. I honestly do think a lot of us were more worried that the game would break, and we were looking for bugs. To break
Yeah.
the game, or,
We're like,
and,
will it stay stable? Can I run it?
yeah. Oh, hang on.
Oop.
I'll pull my thing up.
Oh no.
Sorry, put my headphone out.
Ah, no worries. It happens.
Yeah, going back to the original question about boxing game, right?
Yeah.
Went off on a tangent. Yeah, buying a Complex Run. And bots, I mentioned earlier, Overload. I'm loving Overload right now simply because, I don't chase the new toy, whatever it is, but I do chase the new meta. So when Gears came out, I was like, I'm not a big fan. I'm not really going to bother. When Tracks in the store, I've got 4-star Tracks, don't really need him.
Yeah.
When Power Play came out, I don't see the appeal. But when Overload came out, and obviously Cosmos and Mindwipe were starting being outposts, I thought I can see some value in this. So I went for it in the endurance. So I'm not one of them players that goes for every endurance. If I don't like the bot, I won't bother with it.
Yeah.
I don't need that shiny new toy because it's a shiny new toy. I'm looking for the sort of value in it in my team to add something different, and hence why, again, I keep saying, is it innovative? If it's something that I've already got, then why would I go and spend $40, $50 in an event to go and get something and $40, $50 leveling it to have something I've already got?
Yeah.
There's no point in there. I want something different, and that's where Overload offers that without hack protection.
Yeah, no, I do, and a lot of people probably don't realize that, but Overload didn't get the hack protection like he was supposed to in playtest. That came about after he debuted. We didn't have that hack protection, despite the fact that we're all like, he doesn't have hack protection. It says he does, but it's not working. And so. Yeah. That was kind of my initial impression for Overload. I was like, yeah, I'm not sure about this bot. There's still a lot of work to do on it and all this other stuff. I think in my video I graded it a C at the mid-level bot at the time, because while we had it, we were playing with it 2.5 weeks or so. I mean, we had plenty of time to mess with it and break this bot, and we weren't seeing any progress on it,
Yeah, it's a big problem in playtest sometimes as well. That we'll get an iteration that's okay, and we want some changes, and then you don't hear nothing for a week, say.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like what's going on with the spoiler alert viewers. We have a new defense coming, but I know Wozza and Freezies have covered it, and I probably will when we get it into a much better state. But that's kind of like what's going on right now. We've got it. We're sending feedback. We're not hearing anything about it right now.
I think that's a bit different. I think they're going to slow roll that, because I don't want to say too much, but the way it was working in test, there was questions that they didn't know the answer to.
Yeah.
Like, what happens if you use it in this way? What can you do this? And what happens if you use that? And they're like, I don't know actually. But that's what annoys me as well, is how they not thought of that. Surely, as a think tank behind the scenes, they got, listen, we've got this defense coming out. Surely, someone behind the scenes should be like, well,
what happens if?
Work with that?
Yeah.
How would it work with that? I don't understand how it needs playtest to do that sometimes. They say to do it. I remember once, I can't remember what bot it was, and they brought it out, and they said, listen guys, we've got this bot, we're only going to put it in test for a week, but it's had extensive testing. And it came
oh my God.
Awful. And I was like,
I do.
I was like, who was testing this?
Yeah, I remember that, and we're just like, what the hell? I want to say it was a combat, but I could be wrong.
I think so too.
And
I think so.
And it was like, what? And I think half the outrage was, what do you mean we only get it for a week before it goes live? What the hell?
Yeah.
But I think that was one of the combats we got.
I think it was as well.
I cannot remember. But oh man, well, I'm kind of out of questions. I got one more, and then we'll see what the guys in the chat have to say or want to ask. So, given the the update patch and the legacy balance and everything, who do you think's going to be new in the meta, or who do you think's going to return to the meta? Obviously, your namesake and Swindle are popular at the moment, but I'm trying to. I guess I need to define it. Not so much more of who do you think's going to be a top bot, but who do you feel is going to be a popular bot that people are going to gravitate to for the meta?
I mean, right now, I think Overload is a big one for the top players. I think people use it. I think obviously Trailbreaker because it's quite new and stuff like that. But looking forwards, I think Optimus Prime, for reasons that we know,
Yep.
that people don't. I think Optimus Prime will be a good bot level. That's all I'm going to say, though.
I definitely agree with you on that, and we know,
so.
and we do know why.
We'll see a resurgence of Optimus Prime, I think, in teams.
On that tangent for a second, do you think the other leader class type bots that have similar abilities, like Silica, like Cilia and Hound, do you think that they'll be able to be used in that similar fashion, or?
Maybe. They're not quite as good as Optimus, and let's be honest, it's Optimus, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true.
Most people have got Optimus because they're going to chase Optimus, so I think most people got Optimus Prime at least a 4-star because they just went Optimus Prime, so
True.
quick access bot. So, and it depends what Dale does with him as well, whether Dale fixes him or not. So was trying to fix him at the time and stuff like that. So it depends what he does with him as well. And I think that looking forward in the meta, it does depend a lot on, if I'm deadly honest, who does it. So if Dale is going to continue on what he's doing, and he sticks to some of the, let's just. I think if Dale does Streetwise will be big in the meta. I think this will be a very, very good bot.
He could be if he does them right.
I think personally, Defense Hub might be the next combiner.
Interesting.
After Raiden. I think Raiden will be the next 5-star, I think I'm just guessing though. They said it's not Sky Raiden.
Right.
They've said that. Sky Raiden's not going to be that. I do believe people go like, they're just saying that to make us level all the bots or something. It's like, no, listen, I'm not going to do that.
Well, I thought they were going to be releasing 5-star Raiden and Dino King later this year, but I guess that got postponed.
No, I think that will be it. I think that'll be the next one later this year, I think. Because there's going to be no 5-star batches this year, I don't think.
No,
the last one.
Yeah.
It'll sort of be Christmas. It'll be really close to Christmas, I think. So, I think we'll see 5-star Raiden before Christmas, I think.
Okay.
And then, I think after Christmas, I think Defense will be the next one, I think, personally. And so I think that obviously people are going to chase Streetwise. I think some people are using 4-star Streetwise now, but top players are kind of not using it because of 4-star. Dead simple, they sort of won't level a 4-star sort of pure.
Which
pure pride, whatever, not using 4 stars. But I think Streetwise is pretty good, you know.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. You
know, there's not much anti-slow
in
terms of build bots being used.
And then
it's all anti-5 minute, anti-electric, and FFDs in it.
Yeah. Speaking of the anti-electric, do you think electric's going to be a prominent part of the meta, the upcoming new meta, or do you think it's going to stick with fire and acid?
I think it'll stick with fire and acid for now because there's so many options. And even if they slightly nerf Sunstreaker and they nerf Rustus, Swindle and
Scavenger.
Come on, you're the kind of scavenger.
I know, right? I'm the con guy. What the hell?
I'll tell you the bot ones. You tell me the con ones. That's the deal.
That'll work. That'll work.
So I think they'll still be good. I think they will get nerfed a bit, but I think they'll still be good. I think they kind of learned a bit of a lesson. That last time when they nerfed all those bots, they went a bit too far and had to build them back up again. I think we'll see smaller declines in bots rather than massive nerfs. So I think they'll still be viable in wars, but because of that, everyone's using anti-fire build bots, anti-acid, FFDs for warriors, stuff like that. But I did say to Dale that we've got not quite a bit, but a fair bit of slow. And if we are going with sort of streetwise, then you've got more slow. cryo as it's called, whatever. But we'd like a bit of electric. We've got B, we've got C spray. You could say Lizotus maybe, but there's not a lot of electric.
No, that's the thing. There really isn't.
We need more.
We do need more. And electric and cryo are the only two elements that I remember have variants. You know, electric's got disable. It's got shit. My brain just went. My brain just died. But you know, the electric's got 3 variants. I think cryo has 2 or 3. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'd have to go dig out my notes on them. But they're like the only elements that have you know, variants on them. You know, there's a slowdown. That's one of them, I think, from electric. No, that's cryo. Cryo slows down. You know, so I mean, there are a couple of them there that I think we could see those variants get applied to maybe acid, not just like a healing negate with acid, but also like a dissolve or something. And I know you and I kind of had peaceful words about the idea of comboing the different elements. You know, you could do fire and ice or acid and electric, you know, do a mix and match. And I know we didn't quite agree on all the sides. I mean, you saw some of the pros and you voiced a lot of the cons to it, and I agreed with a lot of the cons that you did bring up. But I still think that would offer a little bit more diversity, not only in the squads, but also in the bases and some of the defenses and offenses that we could do if we were able to mix and match in that way.
Well, I think that's the point, though. I think it adds maybe too much diversity. I think that's the problem then, is that anything would combo with anything. Do you really need to... I always think as well, and people don't like this, but, you know, how are you going to make people chase that next bar?
Yeah.
Because the game does need to make money. And I'm not saying they don't make money, anything like that, but the game does need to make money. So they need to make some bots viable. The next bot, the next combiner, the next combat, it all needs to be viable and needs to be... This is why I sort of don't like it when we get poor content. Because I'm like, this is what's going to keep the game alive by creating new, exciting content
things
people want. And so I think that if you sort of combo everything, I get where you're going with it, and I get that it's going to help new players and things like that. But I kind of think that because everything can combo with everything, you'll have enough. That makes sense. You won't need anything else. Whereas right now we're saying, for example, right now we just said we could do more electric bots to combo with cryo. Where if we combine it all, no one would need electric bots. Nobody
would do it that way, or yeah. And like I said, I did see your points on that. You know, I can see how it could be just a hodgepodge of a mess, and I'm not disagreeing with you, but we could even evolve that idea out to certain electric bots work with acid, or you know, just a little. Or even, you know, some form of an extension of combats that normally do acid could work with an electric bot or a cryo bot or something else. You know, just expand it out a little bit. Maybe not all one gargantuan time like they did with the update patch. You know, but you know, it kind of circles back to how we were talking about the synergies and stuff. It could work something similar like that. You know, do it. Even try it up as an experiment like they did with the Synergy event. You know, turn around and say, hey, we're going to try cryo and acid, see how that works. You know, something like that. Which...
Well, I think something people have not realised is that acid and fire, I can't remember the percent it does when it combos.
It can be... I think it's up to 30% of the two.
30? I can't remember.
I think it's 30.
That cryo and electric is more.
Yeah.
And I said to Dale, is that figure right? Shouldn't it be the same as acid and fire? He went, no, because acid stops healing. So it's kind of like an extra bonus. So he felt like acid and fire shouldn't be as potent as cryo and electric. So that's why I can see cryo and electric being a bit more...
I'm sorry, it's 20%. And cryo and electric is 30. I got the two mixed up.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought it might have been. Yeah, so 30% for cryo and electric. So it has that extra 10%. So I think if they bring out some electric bots, and someone sort of said, you can use Brainstorm and Sea Spray. And I was like, well, you're not really going to use two AoE bots together. You normally want a bot that's going to do AoE and a trigger.
And then a trigger,
That's
definitely.
That's generally how most work, really. are, AOE in a sense of that's going to overlap, like the skids and rusters. They perfectly overlap.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes sense. So if they're going to be AOE, they need to be AOE in the same way. So Sunstreaker's in a line, then you would need a cryo in a line. Because Brainstorm's an area, you'd need electric area.
Right.
That sort of makes sense.
You'd have
sort of steer. You need them.
Yeah, you'd have to have that synergistic alignment that way, definitely.
Yeah, but support bots need to be a bit cheaper because we've got
that they do.
Like Goldbug and
Ramjet,
Cliff Jumper.
Yeah.
These bots that don't do damage but combo, but it's costing like 3 ability points, and what you get out of it.
Not much. Yeah, and and a lot of the new support bots, are they're getting priced like high end specials, and it's just like these aren't worth using not at this price point. Bring it down a little bit on the ability costs, and maybe we can talk. But
you just look at Cliff Jumper and Kickback. They do glass in an area, and you would think that's great because it adds 40% onto any ability, but no one uses them.
And then that's because his electric AOE is less than his glass gas. It's crazy. It's very focused in that regard. I mean, I think even with the 4-star kickback I've got, I hit like 5 or 6 buildings when the electric goes off, and I see the glass gas actually exceeding that. So the glass gas isn't conducting like it should. Or, you can mix it with the Cosmic Rose Blaster too, but even that's a limited AOE.
Yeah. But in terms of meta, I don't know. I think it's going to be slow changes. I think we'll just see it as new combiners come in. There was slight tweaks, and even now, I don't think anti-fire is still prevalent in the game.
Yeah.
Fire's still prevalent being used, so it's still the same. Since the balance patch, fire's still the meta. We haven't brought the balance patch out and gone, oh my god, fire's no longer in the meta. Fire's
still there.
Yeah, the bots have changed for you, here and there. But it's still, but I think that it will change over time. But I don't think it's going to be an overnight thing. Like this anti-hack thing. My wife, Cosmos came out, went an outpost. They've been buffed a bit, and slowly but time, people wanted more. Anti-hack thing.
Yeah.
And sort of protection because of that. So you can bring one thing out, and it will change the meta. But my team's 80% the same. I just have to find a place for overload. So what I was trying to say is the meta's not going to change, and people are going to need a whole new 8 bots. Because I know there's a lot of drama at the minute. People going like, oh, but every bot's going to get nerfed. Listen, one might, and you might have to change one out. Yeah, you might think, all right, that one bot's not useful anymore. I need to swap it out for another bot. And you might have to level one more bot, but you're not going to have to level up a whole new team.
No. And that's crazy because I know you've seen it just as much, and you've probably been harassed just as much as I have and others about it. Of all the nerfs, this guy got nerfed. Well, yeah, he needed it. I'm not saying that it was a good thing. It could have been a little bit less drastic than it was, but at the same time, he was definitely overpowered, and things needed to get changed up. We were saying, in playtest, even before he was deployed, that he was way overpowered, and like a lot of people aren't aware, in playtest, we've all maxed out our bases. We're all doing Prime League level stuff in there, and we're just like, wow, this bot just walks right through it like nothing. Yeah, it's a little overpowered there. Gotta wind it back a little bit. But
I still have Beachcomb in my team, and I still have Leo Prime in my team.
Yeah. There's no reason to change them. They still do some mad damage. I've got a squad. Actually, I don't remember which server it's on, but I'll check real quick. I've got like a mostly fire team, mostly fire and acid team, and I don't normally play to the elements, as you're well aware. I will harness them, but they're not like a major contributor that I consider when I'm looking over my teams. But I was looking at this one team the other day, and I was just like, there is nobody on this team. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, here it is. I'll pull it up. And I'm just like, I've got T2 Megatron, I've got Predacon Inferno, I've got Dead End, I've got Scavenger 5-star, I've got Armada Megs, I've got Dive Bomb, I've got Acid Storm, and I've got Scourge. So I've got some acid and electric in there, but I've primarily got fire on this team. And people are like, oh man, if they've got anti-fire cores, you're toast. And I was like, no, because I'll use my Armada Megatron, I'll use my Dead End, I'll use my Scourge to take them out. Scourge can hit, 3 or 4 build bots that have them on there. And I said, and the other ones that don't have it, I'll bring in my Acid Storm. And just before his AoE ends, I'll bring in Scavenger. And then the fire is moot and does some mad destruction. And people just look at me and just like, you're either a complete idiot or you're a bloody genius, one of the two. And I'm like, it might be both. I've been called some horrible things, but when people see it and I show it to them, and I'm just like, yeah, this looks fire heavy, because you see T2, you see Predacon Inferno, and you see Scavenger, but and then you've got the backdoor guys, you've got Dead End, you've got Dive Bomb, who's Windstrike for you, Wozza, that can come in and bypass all of that stuff without. So while I've got your defenses, distracted with my fire bots and my AoE, I'm sneaking in the back door literally as a distraction, and the HQ falls. People don't see it that way. They just see I've got fire bots and 1 acid bot. What the hell am I going to do with that?
So I've got a question for you then.
All right.
Okay. So who would you like to be the next legacy bot by choice?
Oh, damn, that's a good one. That's a damn good one. Like the old school legacies that gets a good a decent 5-star rework.
Any 4-star's not a 5-star, yeah, no, yeah.
Dang.
Any 4-star's not a 5-star.
Now I gotta think. Now you got me thinking about this. Now I gotta go.
I'm just going for my bots now.
Yeah, no, I gotta go look at this now. I'm going to go through my playtest side so that I don't change the screen on the stream real quick. But let's see.
I've got mine. I'll let you answer first, but I've got mine.
All right. Damn, he's got a 5-star. Yeah, he's got a 5-star. He's got a 5-star. I'd like to see Skywarp. One, because, yeah, and I'll tell you, because I personally, I'm a Seekers fan. I'm not a fanboy by any means for the Seekers. And plus, Skywarp is made up of my 3 favorite colors, purple, black, and silver. I think I'd like to see Skywarp get a massive kick-ass legacy rework. I'd love to see him come in with like a special ability 11 that has a fire attribute, so that his acid ability gets harnessed even better than it already does. I mean, he's sick as it is. And who is Skywarp for the Autobots? I forgot.
Skydive.
Skydive, yeah. So sorry, Wozza.
It's alright. Do you not think that it'll just get into a 5-star though, as he is?
Even if
like that's what happens. It's still pretty decent. It's one of the highest damage from the jets, doesn't it? And it's got acid as well, so
yeah,
I don't think he would get a rework, because people be annoyed with a rework.
He's pretty high on the scale right now with his damage, because his ability is pretty much a bombardment of acid bombs. Yeah. But I'd love to see him come in as a rework with like an SA-11 that like the last shot that you do, or the last 2 shots that you do, instead of being acid, set everything on fire so that it can really harness that elemental combo. Or give him something along the lines of like a vector, because lore wise he was able to go back, he could transport or something. So, like if he's like getting hit by anti-air lasers or the beam laser on HQ, his health, maybe not his position, but his health goes back like 5 seconds, maybe not that high, but 3 to 5 seconds at the highest point of where it was. So it's like he transported back, but his health is right where it was. Something that's a little bit more lore.
I do like more things like that. I do.
Yeah, just so that, I mean, they got close to it with the Vector Prime core, but even that, in my opinion, is still a little off because sometimes I don't even see the Vector Prime core work. I mean, I know it does because I watched my bot die and he's still on the battlefield, but I don't get the effect or anything from it. But
that'd be pretty good. Where if like you activate an ability and the bot disappeared, especially like Skywalk, a bit harder than Jet, but disappeared, reappeared, attacked, did everything, and then reverted back to where it was. We don't have anything like that.
No,
we have bots that can jump.
Yeah.
We don't have anything that then jumps back again, like goes into danger, maybe even dies, and then back to health, back where it was again. Kind of, that'd be pretty cool, something like that.
Yeah, something like that would be cool, especially because that would be more lore accurate towards him, that he just teleports, and something like that would be really, really cool. I would really enjoy something like that. So who would be who's your choice?
Well, I want to do two special mentions.
Okay.
I do like these two bots, but it's not these two.
All right.
So, Broadside.
Okay. That's 8-face.
That is 8-face. Forgot that. But yeah, obviously a big soft spot for 8-face as well. But I just think the ability's, again, innovative. So I like it. It's never quite been there, but it is quite innovative. And then my other choice is Punch. For the same reason, it's quite innovative, quite a bit different. I'd like to see him, but for lore, for the history of him as well, and because he's been in the game for so long, I've never had his sort of day in the sun. I mean, Dale still sometimes like he wants to get a bot, a day in the sun maybe, and that'd be meta for him for a short while. And after Mirage, I love Mirage.
Nice. I would honestly like to see Mirage and his counterpart break. It's not breakdown.
Breakdown.
Yeah, it is. It is. Do something more along their lore, like Mirage actually goes invisible. I mean,
the G1 does. The G1 makes him invisible. But
yeah, but I mean
does it, not the bot.
But they could even do it with like the little square, like we saw in the cartoon. Where he's just like in a blue box.
In the G1, did you get that? Or is that just Mirage?
I think that might just be Mirage.
Yeah, Mirage does get that because I remember doing that. I remember creating his G1, and I remember sat there going, "Listen, if you're gonna make a G1 for Mirage, you've got to make him disappear. You've got."
Breakdown gets. Breakdown gets stealth for 5.8 seconds with a maxed out gold one. Yeah, he gets stealth.
Yeah. So Mirage gets that box because, like I said, we expected stealth. When he did that box, I was like, "You've excelled yourself here. This is amazing." And visually, one of the best bots in the game. Like you said, sticks to lore, really good. But practicality-wise, still a bit crap. So I'd love to see Mirage, the legacy bot, and do some decent ledge damage, comboing cryo again, and that G1 be a bit more powerful. That invisibility, because I think it's a big part.
Yeah.
Of his,
it could definitely get a boost. I definitely agree.
Yeah, but I agree with that. I love that sort of lore stuff. I love that. Where it fits in with the lore as well. I think every bot should. I know there's some bots that are dusted now. Nothing they can do. It is what it is.
Yeah,
but especially with newer bots. When Nightbeat comes on, which I think he will eventually. That's not me just like, by the way, spilling anything. There's no plans for Nightbeat, but I imagine he's quite a popular bot in the vaults. When he does, it needs to be something around stealth and something around that. If they give him anything else, then they missed the trick.
I kind of agree with you about that. And yeah, Nightbeat is Squawk Box on the cons, I think, if I remember correctly. It's been so long, but I mean.
No, Nightbeat's not in the game.
Oh no! I know, but I was meaning from the lore wise.
Oh right, okay.
But yeah, that.
Nightbeat is a detective.
Oh, okay.
So that's his sort of his thing.
Yeah.
He was a detective, like. So,
wrong one.
What ability would you give a detective? I presume sort of be
Yeah, like
Something like that.
some
Stealth sort of
some
thing.
stealth or yeah, you know, some capability that the defenses don't recognize him. You know, kind of like the
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
counter
yeah.
punch and the punch side of things, but it's just like
Yeah,
something along that could work.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah.
Cool. Wow. Let's see. Hey guys, in the chat, do you guys have any questions for either one of us? I'm gonna scroll back real quick to double check, make sure I didn't miss anything. But I've been monitoring it pretty tight. So
Yeah. I've seen Bobby in the chat.
yeah,
So shout out Bobby.
yeah, Bobby's
I like
there.
Bobby. He's cool.
He is cool. He's really been helpful and he's a great support guys. I mean, don't harass him too much, but I mean he's really good at what he's doing. You know, and he's been managing all of our demands on playtest really well lately. I mean he's making it. He's knocking them out of the park.
And more importantly, he gives Dale a lot of stick. So
Yeah.
make sure he's like him.
Yeah, no, Bobby's great, and I mean, don't get me wrong, Dale's great too, but Dale's been kind of ill-focused lately. He's trying to focus on everything at the moment, and you know, it seems like he's spreading himself too thin.
Yeah, I feel like Dale stepped up a bit from community manager to more almost like a dev.
And more power to him. And I'm not going to fault the guy at all for that. But
Yeah.
but I mean, let the CMs handle what they got to handle, and you let us harass you as we need to, because God knows we are some complaining little bitches over there in playtest. We really are, especially us old folks. You know, get off our base. We want this. When do we want it? Yesterday. Why can't you get it done?
I think that's everyone.
In front of everyone, yeah.
Yeah. Croto's got a question. Who do you think is the most underrated?
bot? Oh man, I've got quite a, I don't have a single choice for that. I don't know about you, Wozza. I think honestly one of the most underrated con bots that I can honestly think of would, yeah, I've got a small list of them. First would be Astrotrain for me on that list, because a lot of people, they that's Springer for the Autobots. You know, a lot of them, they don't like their defense offensive ability. You know, they use them primarily for the healing, and I think if you gave the chance to see what their offensive ability could do, it's really actually really good. It's a nice disable now that we used to call stun. In a small area, I don't want to say it's a direct AOE, but there is an area effect there, but it's really small. And given the right setup and the right compatriots along with that, that could be a devastating doorstop, in my opinion. So that's one of them. I think, honestly, another one would be Bomb Burst, although he's gaining in popularity, so I don't know if Bomb Burst would be an accurate one to call underrated at the moment.
Oh, I think so. You don't see him a lot. You see him sometimes, but not a lot. So yeah, I'd say so.
And I know that when we got him in playtest, we're like, what the hell is this bot supposed to do? but he I think is starting to finally gain some traction, and people are starting to like using them. And I think the last one out of that list, I'd probably, I could probably say Punch or Counter Punch. I think they're really underrated. They've also, in my opinion, taken a lot of power creep. They're not as good as they once used to be when they first were introduced. Who'd you pick, Woz?
I've got two, I think.
Okay.
One's very controversial, and that's Leo Prime. A lot of
Underrated.
people took him off their teams. He's been nerfed, but I still see he's really effective. No, he's not like he was.
No.
By no means. But so many people have taken him off their team, and you're like, he's still decent. He's
Yeah.
still good.
Why are you removing him? What? Because he doesn't clear a base in a couple of spams that he's not a good bot anymore. That's kind of ludicrous to me.
I mean, mine's maxed out, and it still does 11,480 damage. That's before ranks. So after ranks, it's about 12,000 damage in the area. That's still a lot of damage.
Yeah, it's still one of the highest damage levels out there.
I mean, it's expensive, but like before, you would use it 3 or 4 times. You can't. It's too expensive. You're talking once or twice now, and it takes out a good area.
It really does.
And then my other one, surprisingly enough, is Chromia. For the simple reason that I'm trying to level mine, but like I said to you off air, I won't level until they sort out these zones and make them XP worthy. That's a question for another time. But with her tower exploding and doing glass gas for 60%,
Yeah.
I can imagine that being stupidly good on defense, but no one used it. I've not up against it once where I'm worried if I do.
I can
An extra has a lot.
yeah, it's crazy, and I mean, I still have him on one of my top squads because I was doing a battle earlier today, and I was like, oh crap, what am I gonna do? And because I had 4 outposts right around the HQ that I was attacking, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna spam the tower, do 2 towers, and I know that now you've got the duration on the electrical damage and on the disable. But I popped all 4 of those outposts, and just as they came out of the outposts, the towers came up for Felbat Chromia, and right at the HQ, and it kept stunning them. And I don't know if the guy is ever going to watch the replay, but he's going to be pissed. He's going to be like, why aren't my outpost bots doing anything? And then when the HQ falls, he's going to see 2 towers right underneath it. But I can agree with that they're still underrated because, I mean, yeah, their dynamics changed, their mechanics changed. I understand that because they were very difficult to counter, especially when they were stunning, especially when you were stunning your entire team. If you were lucky and you happen to have one of your snipers or one of your bots that had a like overkill or dial on it that they were going to be sniping off to the side and out of the way of those towers, you were doomed, So I mean, I can understand that. Damn it, I can understand that mechanics change.
I said that back in old Chromia, pre-nerf, if you were running full teams, you could deal with it quite easily. You could snipe it, you could take it out, you could do multiple things. If you were leveling one bot, she was an absolute disaster. As soon as you got hit with that tower, the tower would hit you, she would hit you, and you would pray that they got a combat on, because if not, and she's using a stun gun, it literally was stun lock, and you had to back out. And I get it, that was frustrating. I said this today at the time, I was like, in wars, Chromia is fine. She's balanced great.
Yeah.
It's a problem, but not a disaster, you can deal with it. In leveling,
you're doomed. Yeah, you're doomed.
So I kind of get why they changed that. I understand it a bit.
Oh, so do I get it. I understand. It was partially because also the underlying mechanics were changing too, But I kind of think that they kind of should have kept her the way she was until those new mechanics came into place. But maybe.
Yeah, I think the tower was fine. I think her stun gun was the issue more. I think, but then all scouts have that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think B was a problem though with this stun gun. I think it's a mixture of the stun gun with the stun tower. It's the mixture of the two. I think that was the problem.
The problem, yeah. Because yeah, you could stop a squad, especially if they deployed all at once. You could stop a squad dead in their tracks. So you didn't need anything else. Yeah, so I could understand why it was, and it was a gargantuan pain in the tailgates for a lot of us players there. But okay, anything else? Okay, we've got Croto's question. I'm not seeing anything else that's coming up yet, unless I missed it.
There's one there.
There.
Um,
Oh, what's an
idea
idea
for
for
a combat
combat?
bot you guys would like to see?
All right. Yeah, a lot of people actually don't know this. Um, about 3 or 4 years ago, I actually designed a class of combat for the game. It was the Scout class that compromised of Tonbot and Air Razor at first. They were the introductory bots, and I honestly would kind of like to see them come back to their own class because they don't quite fit with the companion role, in my opinion. And I'm slightly biased in that particular um, aspect, but I would like to see some more combats that are harnessing other elements like cryo or electric that really help harness and bring those into the player's notice because they're very good elements to use in my opinion. And right now, since they're kind of sidelined in the meta, a lot of my electric bots and a lot of my cryo bots are devastating people and squads and stuff. And I'd like to see some more combats that enhance those. I know that the Cosmic Rust Blaster is supposed to enhance any and all elements, but I'd like to see um, somebody in that way. And I think on a Twitch a few months ago, I asked the team if we were ever going to get combat or minicon or minibot combiners because we have two parts at least on the con side. I don't know about the bot side, but we have two mini combiner parts. We've got Zori and Beto that are mini combiner parts. So I'd like to see mini combiners come in, like somebody like Squawkbox or something like that. Wozza?
I was talking to Dale about this, so I started saying that some people are still finding it hard with my wife with Cosmos in Outpost because they also have multiple bots, and if you haven't got some of the counters. And I started looking, I thought, I'm going to look through the counters. So a lot of the counters are for warriors. There's not many for gunners. In fact, I might say there's none for gunners. You can put the age on, but I mean in terms of combat. So I said to Dale, like, we could do with an anti-hack gunner. So like Nightstick or Flak or like Peacemaker, but have an anti-hack mechanism to stop your gunners getting hacked. And then I thought about it and thought I'd like some sort of stealth as well. So a combat that you can put on a gunner. I think we've had a lot of melee and warrior combats recently, and we could do a few more gunners, I think, because I think we've got a lot of warrior combats, but not that many warriors and melee specials in your team. Cause I feel like most people have like 2, maybe 3 melee bots. Use it 2 maybe. Whereas most people have 3 or 4 gunners. So you need more gunner combats where you compare. Actually, probably got less gunner combats than melee and warrior ones. So I'd like to see more gunner combats. Like I said, with anti-hack and a stealth mechanic in it. Again, just something a bit different, something a bit innovative, something that we haven't got already, and something we can go and chase, and it'll help us in wars in some way until the next meta comes.
Nice. Yeah, I can definitely agree with you on that. You know, something more gunner or more oriented to the specials, definitely, because I think those two classes are definitely underrepresented in the combat arena.
Yeah.
You know, definitely.
I'd like to see another scout combat as well. We've only got the one, which is Tri-Center Shot.
Oh well, technically we've got Air Razor and Rat Trap for the Autobots, which are Vertebrake and
They're
Tonbot.
more companions, like you said, they're more companions. I mean, like, equipable, or, you know.
Yeah,
I'd like a combat that goes on the scout that gives them more range. Because I feel like they run off and die a bit.
yeah,
So, yeah, they'll keep them back a bit, they'll lose a bit of range with that, but again, you can't have everything. You can't say, oh, I want more range and I want more range on the ability as well. That's your choice. If you want less range, then go and give it Tri-Sever Shot. You keep the short range of attack and you can use the ability long. If you want to keep them back, you put whatever other combat, but they lose the ability range. That's the choice you've got.
yeah. And one thing I think kind of confuses a lot of people on combats, and even us. I still scratch my head on occasion that why does this ranged combat, depending upon the class I apply it to, change the behavior of the bot? That should be noted somewhere.
Fair point.
Yeah,
Fair point.
you know, I mean, like Fracas or Nightstick. You know, if you apply them to an air class or actually a class outside of the gunners class, it makes them act like gunners, which not always can be a bad thing. But if you're not preparing for that behavioral change, you know, in your squad, that could be detrimental sometimes too. I mean, and I honestly think, and I know Wozza, I know you've seen me say that every time that there's a behavioral change, we need it listed. I'm big about bitching about that. I'm always like,
No, but Dale said this. He wanted to make everything clear, and I think that's a big point in playtest that we kept that in mind. That's the big point. He wanted everyone, a new player can read it and understand what it does, and so we've really got that sort of sunk into our heads now. But now I think you might be regretting that because now we're sort of analysing everything and going, well, that doesn't quite make sense, and the way that's worded, and you know, it could do with being changed, things like that. So but it makes the game better, especially for new players. So.
oh yeah, but I mean that's been a question a lot of new players have come to me about is, hey, I applied Fracas to this guy and now he's acting like a gunner. What the hell? And I was just like, yeah, that's because he's not a gunner class, and this is what class would you apply it to? And they'll tell me an air class, and I was like, yeah, Fracas will do that to your air class, So, and unless you know these gentle little nuances, they can be, like I said, they can be detrimental, and I think behavioral changes and how the bot reacts to an equipped combat should be noted, at least in the combat info or something, but. Because
I think that, I mean, honestly, when's the last time that you read the bot's bio? Not often.
I think back in 2017, maybe 18.
Right. But then in there sometimes, for example, Brainstorm, it mentions that he has a vector
ability.
Case.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they should get rid of all that bio. There's sort of like, oh, this bot does. Like, they sort of talk about the law of the bot anyway, don't they? So either get rid of it, or just, shorten the text a bit or something, and have a sort of list in there of little nuances, like you said, of whatever, even if it's like on Nightstick where you can put in a bio like, attached to a gunner, works X squares, jet, X squares, it doesn't have to be on that main page, but it can be somewhere where you can click and go, oh right, okay, I can look at little nuances like you said these bots do.
Yeah, I mean,
somewhere at least.
Yeah, because I mean, there are even some of the shield bots, that the warrior won't necessarily rush unless it's in a special ability, but and then it comes up. I think it's I want to say Fengtron, but I know that's wrong. But because Fengtron does the hollows, but there's one of them that's a shield, and your non-special ability warrior is just sitting there taking damage and whacking on something. He's not doing anything more, so it kind of stifles the warrior in that. And I know all of them are melee, but I mean, there's just, hey, I'm going to sit here and whack on this, or I'm going to sit here and shield whack. I think it affects Dinobot or Dinobot 2. I don't remember. I'd have to do a lot of finding, but there's a couple of them out there that do that. Let's see. Yeah, Twilight Tier says we still need a shielding bot like combat for air class that decreases damages as well as increases DPS. I kind of of course he wants it just for mind wipe, but but no, I can actually, and that wouldn't be a bad idea for a mind wipe specific core either. That would also apply to Cosmos, but in general terms, yeah, that would be a nice addition for any air class. Honestly, a nice little air shielding bot that way, that can help them out. That doesn't necessarily, uh, get dropped or get applied as an air weapon, but just hey, an additional shield against the anti-air lasers, or a point defense beam or something there. That would not be a bad thing. I mean, I know a lot of people will probably say, "Oh, apply trithelium coating to them," but that only helps so much. I mean, I've had trithelium. That's a warrior one. No, that is an air class, but or reflective coating. That's what I was actually getting confused. Because they're virtually the same. One's just for warriors, one's for air class. But yeah, I mean that would be that wouldn't be a bad idea for the bots to do, or the air class to get.
I just thought of something now. For Mind Wipe, if you use the attack core, kind of get that, because it goes into stealth, which is not a shield, but keeps him from getting damage as much, getting targeted, and then it increases lifesteal, which means more damage.
Yeah, you do kind of get that.
Got that in the G1 on Mind Wipe.
I can.
Just them.
Yeah, no, I can see exactly where you're coming from on that, but I think aside from Twilight's parentheses of just put it on my Mind Wipe, I think I think overall for air class in general, any bot that flies, that could be that I could see how that could be beneficial, not necessarily making them overpowered or anything, but that would be a great combat for air specific, not just because yeah, warriors they've got power cores that can do that, and they've got their own shields, but yeah, why not something like that for the air class? It's not a bad idea, but I can't wrap my head around right now of how that could be implemented effectively.
I tend to find that you either have increasing damage or increasing protection.
Yeah, you rarely get both.
Yeah. And if you do, you'll be watered down. So if the usual increase in DPS is 32% and the average protection is 30%, if you had both, you'd probably get 15%.
15 to 18%. Yeah, that and trust me, guys, Wozza and I are, and even Freeze and the other creators and playtesters, we all argue of this whole damage versus health thing. We're always like, if you're going to give them high damage, give them high health. Because or at least moderate to high health, because having high damage doesn't do us any good if they don't survive.
I think that's a caveat though in it, I think as well. It's part of the balance that the higher the damage, the lower HP, which means it's like a risk. Risk and reward, I always talk about that as well. That you can have this high damage, but at cost of having low health, and that's why small screen does a stupid amount of damage, but obviously has minimal health. And that's why, obviously, the same as tanks, we have like super chunky tanks, lots of health, but don't do so much damage, and then there's every bot in between. So I kind of get it, But,
no, I mean, I can understand.
Be careful with it. Beachcomber, look at Beachcomber for example.
Yeah.
Stupid health, stupid damage, and it broke the game pretty much. So I
Well,
kind of get it.
They also gave Beachcomber and Deluge the kitchen sink. I mean, they threw everything into that bot.
Literally.
I mean, what we had damage reduction, we had speed reduction, we had anti-hack. He hacked as a passive. I mean, it was like yeah, everything was just put into him, and then on top of that, they're like, yeah, we're going to give him health beyond health. We're going to give him Titan level health. Great. What do you mean Titan level? He lasts longer than my Titan. It was nuts. Yeah, that was kind of crazy. And honestly, I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I'm actually glad to see that Beachcomber and Deluge kind of got rebalanced somewhat properly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Still good though. Still use them on offense.
Yeah, and
it does not die. It does not die.
No, and I mean, I use him in my live for my outposts, because he still has his passive hack, and it's fun to watch people walk up to him and be like, "Oh crap," and then they walk away from him. And it's like, "Yep, he's still hacking," you know. Um,
But honestly, try him on offense, you would not be disappointed.
Definitely. Anything else you guys want to ask us? Okay. Lobotomy's got one. Are squad cores any good? Haven't really used them or even heard of them being talked about. Honestly, in the time for me that they've been introduced, I still, to this day, have yet to receive a squad core. I couldn't tell you if they were good or not.
You've got to go and purchase them from Shanix. You can't get them in normal crystals, I think.
Well, that kind of makes sense why I don't have one then.
Yeah, I've chased a few, but I just feel like, yeah, they add bonuses, but not enough. So you've obviously got to use squad cores and have the same sort of classes to sort of benefit. So if I have a set team of eight warbots, and you're saying to me, oh, if you put 3 jets in, you get this bonus. That bonus needs to be worthwhile. Where what you find with most of them is, there's some that are okay, but you tend to find that, you get an extra 10% reduction in damage from beam lasers and mortars, or beam lasers and cannons, for example. But then I say, if my jet is getting hit by a beam laser, it's already too late. It's already going to die. A 10% protection is not going to do anything. So why am I risking losing a core of my jet that will give it a good benefit for something that gives it a meh benefit, and then I've got to put bots on my team that generally aren't going to be as good as other bots. So I think if the squad cores were buffed, they'd be pretty good. They'd be alright. But what they give you right now is, I've try and get some off, for example. Because I chased 1G metal for a while, and you know what? I don't use it.
Isn't that always how it is?
Yeah. Squad core. So, for example, I've got one on my 5-star world, which is he gains 13% ability damage. So that's less than a volatile mixture. So for me, it should be the same. I'm pretty sure it's less. Let's double check on that.
You said 13, right?
Yeah.
God,
so volatile mixture is 15.5.
15, yeah.
So it's only slightly less, but again, it is less. So by putting it on, you're at disadvantage. Right? So, okay, you get disadvantage, but surely the buff you get should be really beneficial because you're losing out on damage.
It doesn't sound like it.
Gain 13% ability damage, but you grant all your other gunners 28% damage resistance against mortars and missile launchers.
Huh.
But don't forget, you've got to have gunners for that. It's not just all your bots, it's just gunners.
Yeah.
So you've got to have 3 gunners in your team to make use of that. Maybe not 3, but I would go to the end. I would have 3 if I'm going to do that, say. So, air class is similar. It's a bit less than the Yoko, but it's less damage from laser turrets and beam lasers. Now, if they buff laser turrets, where they actually did decent damage to air bots, it might be beneficial, and I'm not too sure if they stack. If they stack, they'd be pretty good, but I don't think they do. So you put 3 squad cores on that all give 12%, or all give 30% damage resistance, it'd be 90% damage resistance, but I don't think it works like that.
No, I don't think they ever designed them to stack. I remember when power cores used to stack, but oh my God, there we go, old man syndrome again.
We've got medical command for healers, so you gain 3.5. I'm just trying to max it out and see what it does at max. Mine's at that one. Give me a tick. I'm not going to max it. I'm just going to put all the cores and see what. So at max, 13 and 28. So you gain 13% extra healing, but then you get 17 for Wheeljack's G1, say, for example.
Yeah.
So you gain 30% extra healing, and you grant other medics 28% damage resistance against mortars and missile launchers. So it's alright.
It's
But you lose. If it was the same, if the gain X healing was the same as the G1, and then gave a decent damage resistance, then
it could be
fair enough.
viable. It could be viable.
But
Yeah.
it's only mortars and missile launchers. So you're a bit like, okay, but I'm really going to level a G metal and replace. And don't forget as well, the problem is like when you're going to do it on gunners, say for example, you're going to have pretty much a volatile mixture because you want your gunners to do more damage.
Damage, of course.
So, do you know what I mean? Like, are you really going to take more damage out for that? That's just, I don't know. They're just not very good. They need balancing, but I think they're old content now. I think G1s took over, and they're fine with putting G1s out there for people to chase more than squad calls, which are available free for Shanix. I think that's sort of the attitude towards it. There's free content, so you can't really have it OP. I think.
Yeah, I think like maybe what they've been out like 3 or 4 years. They barely get a mention. Yeah. So
I think longer.
I think
so
long.
I'd love to. I'm not have to. I'm gonna find out.
Well, I'm kind of gonna agree with Croto. I think it's about time to shove off. Wozza, pleasure as always having you on, bro. Thank you for making the time.
Thank you for having me. Much appreciated.
Now you can shut up, not be a smeghead about CF's not gonna let me on his channel. And so it's done. And I'm surprised Soldier didn't show up tonight, but I'll hunt him down because he knows he's next on the list. But again, thanks for the wonderful topics, wonderful discussion. Just as always, good stuff, And like we always often say, we don't necessarily always agree, but we respect each other's positions. And this guy over here, and I hope I'm pointing the right way. Yeah, I am. This guy over here is a pain in a lot of people's asses, mine included. But he's a good guy nonetheless. I love him like a brother. So, and I mean, we're old men in this game. Both of us are old men in this game because I literally I think I came on like a couple of weeks after or a couple of months after Wozza did. So we've been around a while.
Too long.
It feels that way sometimes. It really does. But again, thanks for coming on. Thanks for making the time. It was a pleasure having you. Troll me all you're gonna, because I know you're gonna troll me every chance you get now, Wozza, and that's fine. I'm still gonna troll you too, and I'll give you a hard time on your stream on Thursday. So have a yeah. So have a good night, everybody. Thank you for coming on and asking your questions and having some good topics to discuss. Sorry we didn't get to all the topics going on in chat, but you guys had some great questions, so appreciate that. And look forward to doing this again.
Definitely.
And remember, like and subscribe to my channel, like and subscribe to Wozza's. And I know I didn't say this with Freeze's, but also check out Freeze's channel, like and subscribe to him. We've all got different content. We all talk about different stuff. Some stuff you may hear on all of our channels. Other stuff is all different. So, I mean, there's not one source for everything, guys. And we're all out there giving off different stuff. And you're always going to hear Wozza mention Leo Prime, and you're always going to hear Freezius mention Rod Kron. I haven't decided who I'm going to always mention now. I'll come up with somebody. It'll probably be Scourge Swoop. I love Scourge. I love the way he looks. He's one of my favorite Decepticons of all time. Yeah, it'll be Scourge. But anyway, thanks everybody. Have a good night. And Wozza, I'll talk to you throughout the week as usual. So again, thank you for making the time and coming on. And everybody, thank you. Thanks to the Yodos that came on, and thanks to the regulars, and thank you to Twilight for finally coming on and being live on one of the streams for a change. Always says, I'm going to make it, I'm going to make it, I'm going to make it. Never shows up. Tonight he made it. So, all right, guys, have a good night. Be safe, and we'll see you guys on the battlefield. And as always, keep up the heroic nonsense. Have a good night.